In this video, you're going to learn some division strategies for divisors of 2, 4, and 8. With our column division approach, we've got 248 divided by 2. We've got 2 goes into 2 once. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down the 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down the 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. In this case, a lot of students will just be all, but Mr. Yen, I know the answer already. 248 divided by 2 is 124. Or they're just going to be all, 248 divided by 2. And in their head, they can be all, okay, well, that's 124. Half of 248 is 124. Now, can you tell me the half of some other numbers? If you can, then these strategies might just work for you. If we looked at 632, you'd be all, well, let's see. Well, 6, okay, that's 300. 632 is made up of 600, so that's 600, and then we have 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16, and if we put those together, we get 600 was divided by 2. That's what I was saying there. And we have 32 divided by 2, and we'll go ahead and put those together there. So we had this here. We had this here, and we had this approach. 600 is just made up of 600 and 32. 632. 600 divided by 2 is 300. 32 divided by 2 is 16, and 30 and 16 is 316. So 632 divided by 2 is 316. We looked at another one. We had 204. That one right there, you're like looking at it going, oh, I'm going to go back here. Doesn't look very accurate there. 204 divided by 2 is, you're like looking at it going, oh, I know that. I already know that 200 divided by 2 is 100. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And if I put those together, then I get 102. And again, so that strategy and that approach from above is 200 divided by 2 plus 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 being 2. 200 divided by 2 being 100. 100 plus 2 is 102. Now, you might have been able to do that right in your head, and in that case, you just put the little caret right there, and you evaluate it right to 102. Again, you might be able to just look at this right in your head. Using mental math, you might be able to look at this and just be able, okay, well, that's just 162 with a remainder of 1. We had 820 divided by 2. Again, you might be able to just look at this and be able, okay, well, half of 820 is 410. Wrote it a little different way here. 360 halves. Oh, that's just 360 divided by 2. And I know the answer to that is, Did you say it? You're thinking it? Were you thinking 180? Show you one more. (246 halves). 246 divided by 2. What was it? Were you thinking 123? Good job. Give you a couple for you to try. Dividing by 2. Using these strategies. Alright, it's time for you to try. It's time for you to try. Go ahead and hit pause. You try, and I will come back with the answers. Hopefully you did hit pause there. Half of 430 is 215. Half of 624, 624 divided by 2. Okay, we just take a half of that. That's 312. 370 divided by 2. You might have gone a different approach, different strategy that we chose from before. You might have been all, okay, well, at least we've got 18. So we got 180. We got 180 times 2. 180 is 360, You might have been like looking at that and going, okay, 180, 360, and then we got 10 more, we got 5, so it's 185. What I was trying to do is showing that other approach, 370, it's just broken down and it's to 300 plus 70. So we have 300 divided by 2 plus 70 divided by 2. And if we have 300 divided by 2 is 150. 70 divided by 2 is 35. 150 plus 35 is that 185. And again, 370 divided by 2 is that 185. I've got two very similar problems right here. We're now looking at dividing by 4. And I've shown you here, this is dividing by 2. We've got 360 divided by 2 is 180. Now if I take that same dividend, 360, but instead of dividing it by 2, if I divided it by 4, you'll see I got 90. I get 90 here. Now, what do you see about 90 and 180? So this is how it is that we learn about this strategy and how we think about this strategy. What do we know about 90 and 180? It looks like 180 is half of 90. 180 to 90, we divide it in half. We know that when we're dividing in half, we're actually dividing by 2. So if we took 180 and divided it by 2, we would get 90. So 180 divided by 2 is 90, if you need to see that instead of just hearing it. So what we're going to do when we're dividing by 4 is we're just going to go ahead and divide by 2. And then we're going to go ahead and divide by 2 again. So we take 360 divided by 2, we got 180. We divided 180 by 2 again, we get 90. We get our answer there. This is a strategy and approach for dividing by 4. So we've got this problem, and we have this problem 324 divided by 4. We're going to go ahead and take 324 divided by 2 first, and we know that 324 divided by 2 is 162. At that point, we're going to go ahead and take 162 and divide it by 2 again. And then we know half of 162 is 81. So that 324 divided by 4 is 81. You try. Set up the problem, hit pause, you try. There's your problem. Remember, divide by 2, and then divide by 2 again. Hit pause, come back with the solution. Half of 460 divided by 2 already is 230. Half of 230, we take that there, 230, we divide it by 2 again, we get 115. So 460 divided by 4 is 115. Good mathematicians will always check their work. Did you check your work already without being asked to? 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6, 4 times 1 is 4, 460. Check. So 460 divided by 4 is 115. 848 divided by 8. And when we're dividing by 8, what we're going to do is we're going to divide by 2 3 times. We'll divide by 2 3 times. We'll take this in half 3 times. So 848 divided by 8. Half of 848 is already 424. 424 in halves. I can write in halves like this as well. 424 in half. 424 halves is 212. 212 divided by 2 and half again is 106. So 848 divided by 8 is 106. Here's another problem. We have 328 divided by 8. So again, we'll take half of 328, which is 164. Half of 164, which is 82. And we'll take half of that again. We get 41. And so our answer is 41. 328 divided by 8 is 41. Alright, it's time for you to try a few. Please go ahead and hit pause. You try. Welcome back. 728 divided by 8. Again, what we're going to do is we'll take half of 728. And then we'll go ahead and take half of 328. And then that's 364. Half that again. We get 182. Take half again. We get 91 as our answer there. Because 91 times 8 does equal 728. Take a look at there. 90 times 8 is already 720, and 1 times 8 is 8. Right, we put those together. That was our check right there that I'm circling right there. So as you see there, we have 360 divided by 8. I halved once. I halved twice. I halved 3 times to get 45. 360 divided by 8 equaling 45. Did you do your check already? Did you do your check already? 45 times 8, 0, 4. 4 times 8 being 32, plus 4 being 36. 360 right there. So that checks. So those are some strategies for you for dividing by 2, 4, and 8. I'll summarize the final screen. So if we divide by 2, hey, we're just taking half of that number. We divide by 4, we're dividing by 2 twice. And if we're dividing by 8, we're dividing by 2 3 times. Those are just some strategies and approaches you might want to use. Now, if you come up with a remainder, then it gets a little bit messy. But if you do the check, then you can figure out what that remainder is supposed to be.